Hey guys, welcome back. This is ChosenArchitect, and today we are going to talk about automation and get into more mystical agriculture. So I hope you guys are ready. So now that we have our lovely tower, I think it should be best to start, sort of working with mystical agriculture, because I think mystical agriculture is going to be one of the best mods heading forward. So what I need to do today is I need to get all of our stuff hooked up. So I'm going to continue with this same sort of setup. And I think even having just one carrot planted, it can supply enough power to power these harvesters, and it should be fast enough. Since these harvesters kind of do run on a timer, it is still providing enough power. And look at this guy's already filling up with carrots, and we've barely even started, right? So I'm supplying this a whole area here with just a single plot that is being used for carrots for all of these sections. And I think that's going to work wonderful. These aren't even upgraded, right? These are just plain Jane culinary generators. So let's go ahead and jump into a little bit of refined storage, because that's what we're going to be using for hooking all of this up. And you can see I've already left these spaces empty. Now there is a problem I have here, which I may end up changing what block is actually here. I may not go. I'm probably going to change this up and go with some dark wood. The same color here. The main reason is because when we go to make covers for our cables, this connected texture is unfortunately not going to work anymore. So I do have a bit to clear out, so I'm going to go ahead and get some of that cleared out, and then we're going to go ahead and make some of the cables that we're going to need. With this changed up, I'm going to go ahead and add this cable and kind of get this extended, and we're going to have to do a few things, right? I'm not really going to worry about this per se. I'm pretty sure this is going to be self-sufficient in its own right, and this is honestly just to store this stuff in the basic drawer. We might worry about how we're going to automate this later on, but right now I'm focusing on these three, which are going to be our main resource generators. So let's go ahead and get our cables placed properly, and then we'll talk about how we're going to move items to and fro. So I have some importers and I have some exporters. So import, remember, that's going to be going into the system, and exports is going to be pulling out of the system. When we're talking about cables from refined storage, we're always talking about we're talking about these cables in the perspective of our network. So that's a good way to look at this. So what I'm going to need is I'm going to need some importers. That's going to put items into our network. We're going to have that connected to our harvester, because I want the items coming from here and going into our system. And we shouldn't need any upgrades. I don't think this is going to be fast enough to worry about everything. I think we're kind of being slowed down specifically by our culinary generator and the speed at which it's pushing items in. Did I get that on there? No, there we go. Okay. And then next we have the culinary generator. Now this one is going to need an importer or an exporter, because we're going to be exporting items out of our system to put into here. So let's see if hover mode is any better. Oh, you'd think we would have better jetpacks by this point. But no, that's me focusing on other things. So there we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to set this to carrots, right? Because this is what we want carrots going into. And we should be able to specify just by placing a carrot in this slot. So placing a carrot in here tells it, okay, make sure carrots go in here, and it's going to pull from our system. There we go. So all of these should be getting supplied with carrots, and they'll always have carrots and always will be maintaining. And this right here will always be supplying carrots to our system, and we'll eventually start building up in our storage. That's where I would kind of want this doing exactly the same thing. The problem is we're going to end up, I could probably just remove this carrot and also extend this and use an importer maybe, or an exporter specifically on the culinary generator. But for right now, I'm going to leave it. We'll worry about that later. All right, so you can see this is pretty ugly, right? We don't want this to look like this all the time. So we want to go ahead and make some covers. Now, covers is going to require a cutting tool. And what we're going to do is we're going to take some of that dark wood that we had, and we're going to use that to make some covers. And this is just going to simply go over the cable, and is an easy way with refined storage to make sure your cables are nice and covered up and looks like everything, and that way you can keep everything in line with a normal within a single block. So if you technically wanted to make your floor out of all cables and you're routing items, you could use covers to just make it look like it's just one floor, which is super nice. So let's go back to our dark wood, and it doesn't take much dark wood either to get that going. And look at that. Awesome. So we're also going to do that same thing to our area above. So just keep that in mind. Right here, I do need to fill a couple holes that I made. But pretty much this whole thing is ready to go. This thing is ready to rock and roll. We just need some cobblestone. And that's about it. So we're going to rock that with some cobble. Same over here. This is not supposed to be cobble, actually. Or not supposed to be dark wood. It's supposed to be this cobble texture. But there we go. So this whole section is done. You can't even tell items are being routed. But now anything we put inside here should grow. By the way, I took you guys' recommendation. You guys said, make a bunch of sprinklers and you'll be surprised at how fast things grow with those sprinklers. So I'm testing that out. So I'm taking up 5 spaces in our crop in order to do that. It's not necessary, but you know, that's what I'm trying. I'm going to see what's faster, is if that grows things quicker doing it like this, or maybe if we even apply a couple of those hives, that might help as well. But I don't know what kind of effect the hives apply, because bone meal effects don't work for this. So this is doing something else. This is increasing growth ticks. And that's what we kind of need, is something that increases growth ticks. So we're going to want to work our way through tiering up our mystical agriculture essence. And we have tons and tons of essence that has just been building up. As you can see here, we have just tons of it. So what I probably want to do is get a, an external storage right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to get some tape. We're going to tape this guy up because this one's pretty much full. Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to end up rotating these guys out eventually. And I'm just going to slap this guy right on here. And this will allow us to pull directly from this once we run out in our main inventory. So this is hooked up, so now our machine should be able to see this, and we can throw all that essence in and work directly from our wireless crafting grid. Or it'd probably be best in our case to just work directly from our crafting grid. So let's start working on this, because this is going to take a little bit of time. Because in order to upgrade, we need first this inferium infusion crystal. Then to upgrade to the next one, we're going to need a prudentium infusion crystal. So we have that one upgraded. And then to upgrade from this, we are going to have to make some of this intermedium first. And we have to continue to do that. So we'll make 4 intermedium in order to get the next upgrade. And we're trying our best to get up to the master. That is what we hope to be able to get to. And I hope I have enough prudentium made up. I may not at this point, but that's the ultimate goal. So the next tier up is the intermedium crystal. So we need that. So there we go. And then of course we need to make some more of the intermedium. And it's just a big process, right? Over and over again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try my best to just upgrade, to make a few of these. Probably a couple stacks, actually. 4 stacks is probably going to be how much is needed. We're going to be making some of this, right? And remember, 4 is not exactly what we need. So I'm going to go ahead and make 32, I think should work. Actually, for this, we probably need a whole stack, or as much as we can get. So 43. And then we're going to be working on getting supremium. So we need this guy. This is going to help us get supremium. So we'll just basically clear out this. And this will get us supremium. We're going to need more than 4, because 4 is going to get us to the top, that top one. But we are going to need 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's when we kind of hit a point, right? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because remember, we're going to have enough. And then we might have run out. Okay, so let's take a look at this. The next tier up is going to be Insanium. So here's our Supremium one that we need. And we need enough to make 4 Insanium. And that's an Insanium essence, guys. but we need 4 of those. So this is where I said, I think, actually, does this one, the master crystal requires 4 of this and a pristine Superium, I believe, infusion crystal. So we're going to have to repeat this whole process in order to get that, but we have to get this master infusion crystal. It is going to be a lifesaver for automation purposes. But yeah, we're going to continue. We're going to have to continue doing this. Now, I do want to test. Does this also tier this up? Okay, so no. So that is something that we have, that we know now. This tier will only move Supremium up to Insanium. So to be able to get this one, we just have to make a bunch of these crystals. Now, we have tons of prosperity now. You can see we have over 1k shards. So with this crafting grid, it does make it a little bit easier to get this material. So yeah, do keep that in mind, that if you're working with refined storage, or not refined storage, RF tools, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you to produce the materials that you're going to want. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So I should be able to now just shift click and it uses it up. Now, if you're doing it with RF tools, it's not going to let you do that. That's the kind of downside to this whole process. So I should be able to make tons and tons of this, given that we have these infusion crystals. And all of this is should be coming out of our drawer. We should be able to see here, yeah, we're only down to 10,000. It's kind of crazy how much we've actually gathered the past few episodes. Just with our tiny little 9x9 farm that we had set up. That thing was a rocking and a rolling. So all of this is going to build up. And I'm just going to continue making it. So we're back up to pulling out some premium now. And we might actually get lucky because on this one, right, we need we needed 4, and that was, I think, our 4th one right there. We might actually be able to do this on this one, make this master. Yes, we can actually use this because it's based on uses. And looky there. We now have a master infusion crystal that we can use now for full automation of all of our different essences. Now, automation is going to be it's going to be a costly process. A lot of people have complained, and they were like, using this right here, it's just really slow, right? Refined storage automation is just really slow. And that's where you need to use your speed upgrades. Speed upgrades do work, and they do work incredibly well. In speed upgrades, you can just set up automation for it, and it doesn't cost too much at all to do that. So let's kind of start working on that. So within RF tools, or not RF tools, refined storage, we have ourselves what is called a crafter, just a plain Jane crafter. And these things are going to be really useful to us. It does look like I need to make a couple more machines. Let's go ahead and make 4 of these for right now. Looks like we ran out of something. A destruction core? Okay. There we go. So there's 4. So these things are going to provide the automation that we need. So I'm just going to place them right here. Now these things can work in a couple different ways. You can see the direction they're facing. They can actually push items into like a machine or a chest if you want to do automation. It just depends on the type of automation you put in here, type of card. And that's where our pattern grid is going to come in handy. So you can see there's a button here that's called processing. The ones that are set to processing is the ones that will input items, or export items into a chest directly from the crafter. But if this is set to non-processing, it is going to be just a regular crafting recipe, which is going to just happen inside the crafter. So let's go ahead and get ourselves some patterns made. That's something we don't really have, do we? So let's see. We need a couple of patterns. I think they're just called patterns. Crafting patterns? Yeah. Patterns. All right. So I'm going to grab a few of those, and we're going to stick those right here. And this is where the fun is going to happen. So we need to say, okay, how do we make the Bridentium essence? Well, we should just be able to click this in and bam, that is going to be our Prudentium. And then I just need to do the same thing for this. And the thing is, this with refined storage doesn't care if you have the items or not. It honestly does not care. So you could have made these crafting recipes long ago. You could have made them way before you had set this process up. But it is literally this simple to set this up. Now, I want to make an uncrafting recipe, and we might have some issues doing that. We might have to worry about doing that separately or later, but we could probably do that manually ourselves. But what would happen is eventually we may not need Prudentium, we might need just Supremium, but we have a bunch of Insanium. So what we could do is we would uncraft to this essence, but that could also lead to some looping issues, which might cause some issues as well. But for right now, let's just go ahead and stick with these patterns, because these are going to be really important to us. Now that we have those patterns, there's also some other things with mystical agriculture that are really important to us as well when it comes to seed crafting. We need a pattern for base seeds. We're going to need one for each tier seed going forward, because when we craft all of these seeds, or when we craft new seeds, it's going to require these seeds, and it's also going to require the material to make them. So we're going to definitely want those seeds available. Let's go ahead and craft that. In Insanium, I'm not too concerned about just yet. Also, Growth Crystal Essence is stuff that we won't even be able to get into. I'm wondering if that's the only thing that requires the all the mods tweak Growth Crystal, which requires Royal Jelly, by the way, which means we're going to have to get into bees at some point. But luckily, getting to bees isn't going to be as hard as you think, because we do have the ability to kind of manipulate bees in this pack, which is kind of nice. So, other than that, that's pretty great, right? We can go ahead and throw these separately in its own pattern grid. Let's see if I can remember the order. There we go. And so we set these separately. And this one is never probably going to be used because we can't use it. But yeah, that's going to be working. Now, where people were talking about how the speed is, that's where the speed upgrades are really going to shine. And we probably want to grab some of those. So, and just have them auto-crafted. So let's go ahead and have this auto-crafted. That's just your blank upgrade here. And then we need to make that into a speed upgrade. But before we do that, we need to make sure we have this. So we're going to need to make a pattern for this. So that way we always have quartz. So if we don't have it, it'll auto-craft it for us. And then we also need a pattern for sugar. And this is one where we can probably set Ore Dictionary on. And we can go under here, under sugar, and we should be able to specify what is able to make it. You can see right here, there's a couple different things like swamp grass. We want that to be able to be on. And all we got to do is go over here and throw those patterns in. All right, so we don't have those available, right? Let's open up this, and we're going to go into speed upgrades. And we should be able to see... Oh, I never made the final speed upgrade. So, speed upgrade, let's go ahead and make that. There we go. Throw that in there. All right. Throw those out. There we go, pattern. All right, so now we should be able to look up speed upgrades. You can see it says craft. I'm going to go ahead and craft. What do we need? We need 4 of them for each, right? So, 16. It's going to tell us we're missing iron, right? That's kind of crazy, right? We're missing iron? Probably because we have blocks of it stored away. And we just need to unblockify our iron at this point. We have so much blocked iron. And now we should be able to craft it. So, speed upgrades. It's going to be pretty slow at first, right? So 16 of them. And we can start that process. And we're going to look in here for our speed upgrades, and you can see they're slowly but surely building up, and we got 4 so far, now 5. But if I was to take these and throw these in here, it's already done. Like, I mean, it's so much faster when you add these speed upgrades, and they are super useful for this. So let's take a look at Superium. Or yeah, we should be able to make this premium. Right now we don't really have anything yet for this, so let's go ahead and tape this guy up, and we're going to replace it. So I'm going to pull this guy off. I'm just going to replace this and slap on the upgrade for the storage. Okay, so we'll go back down here. I'm going to get my external storage. We're going to do near to the same thing we did earlier. So this is hooked up. So now I'm going to ask it for Supremium. So I'm going to ask it for, I don't know, 32 Supremium. Right now there's none in there. And it's telling me it's missing that crystal. That must have been because I had, and it's missing, oh, okay. So this is acting a little funny. So this isn't, I'm probably going to need a Master Infusion Crystal. I'm going to need 4 of them, apparently. Ah, that's one of those things that's going to mess up the automation a lot. And I don't know if I can specify a way to fix that. I don't know if OR dictionary is going to work. Let's just take a look. So if we go to this, and we set this, if we set that to OR dictionary, will that fix it? I don't know. Because it's gonna ask for this Master Infusion Crystal, which actually wasn't in here, to be honest. I'm not. But it's still saying it needs more than 1. Let's try this again. Maybe it's just because I had them. Let's see. It's, trial and error. So it's saying it's missing a Master Infusion Crystal. So unfortunately, we are probably going to need about 4 of these in order for it to function properly. So after emptying this basic drawer, I did manage to get enough of the Insanium to hopefully supply us with 4 Master Infusion Crystals. So we already have 1. But we should be able to make ourselves 4. That's the goal, anyways. So Master Infusion. There's that. I don't know why it's not pulling the Insanium back in. But there's 3, and that should leave us with 4. And it was asking for 3 earlier. And then we also have one of these that is requiring a Prudentium Infusion Crystal, which is this recipe right here. And we do have to fix that one. That's the only one that I think is broken. And that is for this. So we just need to make sure that is set properly. And we'll just refix that one there. So there we go. It's set to Master Infusion. So with that being fixed, everything should say Master Infusion. Perfect. When we go to, I'm going to uncraft a few of these. I'm going to uncraft this. And then uncraft this. It should get this all broke down. Right? Okay, so that's all broken down into the bits and bobs. We should be able to take this and now get our automation working. So, Supremium. Let's take that out and we'll craft it. I want to do 10. And it's using our Master Infusion Crystal. Okay. So cancel. Let's do 20. It's saying it's requiring 2. It says it's good. Cancel. 64. Okay. So it's saying it requires 2. It's good. 70. Are we getting anywhere near how much I can actually get out of this? 2 stacks. Okay. So I'm missing essence here, but I still have enough. Okay, so we should be good for any craft that we need. The max we're ever going to need is 4. So start the 64 craft. Remember, this should take a little bit of time, right? Let's actually do 2 stacks, because that should show... Okay, so maybe a little less than 2 stacks. Okay. A little bit less than that. There we go. So this is going to require 3. It's going to require pretty much all the crafting to happen. Let's start this. And just watch. Look how fast that crafting is. I don't know who would think that that's not fast, but that is pretty fast and done. Right? For your crafts that you're needing. I would say that that's probably going to be your best bet. Absolutely amazing. So, what we could do is also reverse crafting. That's where we just create patterns that are going to uncraft what we've crafted. But I think all in all, we're looking pretty good, right? That actually is not half bad, what we were able to do today, in getting all the automation stuff started, including getting the speed upgrades and stuff like that going. Also, your crafting monitor over here, if you have crafts that are happening, you could always use your crafting monitor to come look at them and then also cancel the process if you do end up encountering a problem, which could happen. Also, I think on your main crafting grid, I don't know if that's a thing. There used to be a button up here, I think. Maybe that's with applied logistics. I do tend to get those things confused. But that's looking pretty good. Now we get to move on to the next part of today's episode, and that is extending mystical agriculture even more. And today we're going to be working on getting ourselves some mob drops, so that way we can get specific loot that can only be obtained through the method that I'm going to show you. So I'm going to need this sword that's called a Solium dagger right here. And this thing is going to require some Solium. Solium is not the easiest thing in the world to obtain, so let's go ahead and make it. We do need some Prudentium essence, but we also need soul sand right here, crushed down, or actually soul stone, which is soul sand. So let's go ahead and grab some of this. Let's do 32 for right now. And then back at our base is where we want to go. I really need to get like a teleporter. I do have that book, actually. Like a book. Hinder book. I think that'd be a much better way of teleporting back and forth, so we're not wasting so much time. Let's see. We'll take this. Do home. 1. There we go. Anyways, and then we should be able to do home to get back. We're going to need to cook some of this down. So, throw that in a smeltery. And that's going to get us that dust that we're going to need. So, let's take a look back at Mystical. And the Solarium Dagger is exactly what we're looking for. So I'm going to mark that, or add a bookmark for the dagger. Because we're also going to need this, which is Mystical Sticks, which require Prosperity Shards. But for the most part, this should be pretty simple, minus the Prudentium, which, I mean, you just have to make sure you have the resources for. Let's go ahead and grab that. And we should have enough for a couple pieces of this. I'm going to go ahead and make 3 swords worth. This just needs to get smelted down again, and that's going to make your Slayer Minions. Awesome. So we should pretty much have everything. Like I said, we're making 3 of those. It's going to be well worth it, by the way, to make this. So once we have our daggers, we need some way to get this into our mob farm and start killing things with it. For that, we have some users, right? We have a mechanical user. We could funnel things in and kill it with a mechanical user. Or we could go with an automated user, which will right-click or use items for us. So it'll use swords for us, basically. This guy is actually really good because I believe it goes through walls. So it's not blocked by a wall or anything. So let's get some carrots, actually. I love carrots, by the way. They really do fill your saturation quite quick. As you can see, that's pretty nice. All right. So I also need a advanced item collector because this is going to be dropping items. I'm going to be shutting my mob farm off. And so this is going to be how we're going to be collecting items. And I do need a crate to collect our drops. Since this is only temporary, this isn't going to be something that is just going to last forever. All right, so crate this, and we're going to extend this. Let's go ahead and shut this off. And we're going to extend this to its max. So that way anything drops, we are going to be collecting it. And we also need to place this. Now, this is the wrong direction. So I'll see if I can't get it in the right direction. I hope, because if it's not in the right direction, prepare for some hurt, because this thing can really hurt you. And this thing needs some power, so I'm just going to drop a power cell on it, and that should be good. Okay, so it's right now its current radius is not the farthest thing in the world, so I'm going to extend that out a bit. Looks like a 9x9 should work perfect. And I don't think it's going to kill spiders very well, so we're going to have to keep an eye on that. But we're going to set this type to attack, and then we just put the item in, and we'll set this to a delay, a little bit of a delay. Maybe 20 ticks, I think, is good. A 20 tick delay. We don't want it going too fast. But what should be happening is maybe this isn't going to work. I don't know. It's showing that it doesn't have any power. Let's set this to output mode. Ah! There we go. So now, it's going to start using this sword to attack. And we might need to speed this up a bit. Yeah, that's a little bit fast. But you can already see we're getting wither skeleton chunks. Since we do have a wither skeleton farm. That's a tier 5 chunk. Now, you can use these to make wither skeleton seeds, which is honestly going to be really useful, except for we can't make that crafting seed. But these can be smelted down into their base tier seeds and uncrafted, if I remember correctly. Right? Can't they be uncrafted? This can be smelted down to turn into a base tier 5 mob chunk. And the tier 5 mob chunk can only be used for that? Okay. So we might actually need to turn our spawner off, because I don't want it killing just this mob. I don't want just this mob chunk to happen. We might actually move this and turn off some things. Also, might want to set this to like 5. There we go. And it seems to be not hitting everything. So it's kind of weird how that's... Oh, there's our vertical offset. Oh, there we go. Perfect. So we can set that there. And that should work. Perfect. Yeah. It's weird how it doesn't always hit the mobs. That's kind of a problem. So here's a little bit of a method that I would probably suggest. Trying to get in here. And to place this down, we're probably going to need a hammer. So we'll grab a hammer. And what we'll do is we'll flip this guy around. And we want to specify this guy to use the dagger, just like we were using it before. But this time, this is going to be on a left click. And it's going to be use on entity. And then we're going to specify upper left-hand slot only. And so now when we put this here, it should use the sword on them. And we can speed this up if we put some speed upgrades in here, which we'll probably do. But for right now, that should work. So let's get some glass. Just to fill in what we've done here. I am going to leave a hole right there just so when I come back, we can start working on this. So I'm going to turn this off. And that should let that focus on just killing that. And that should start to pick up those mob chunks for us. Yeah, that's a lot better. So after that thing has done its job, the user, we now have some mob chunks. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a few of the mob chunks that have spawned up in here. There we go. I think that's about it for the mob chunks. But we should have a pretty decent amount now. We have, let's see, some experience chunks, which... I think those are used, yeah, to make bottles of enchanting, so not really that important. But we do have some other things, and actually, these are used to make experience seeds, which could actually be fairly useful later on down the road. The main thing I wanted was some zombie chunks, we got a little bit of creeper chunks, and some skeleton chunks. Creeper chunks are doing pretty good, and the skeleton, they're both the same tier, so these both can combine, or just as a tier 1. I don't see tier 2. I don't know specifically what the tier 2 is. Let's take a look at seeds. So, most of these require a tier 2. So, tier 2 is going to come from passive mob kills, from what it looks like. But we can upgrade tier 1s into tier 2s. So, keep that in mind while we are looking at that. Now, that's exactly what I want these mob chunks for, right? I want most of these mob chunks because I want to get a pig, chicken, cow, and sheep chunks, right? Those are going to be probably the best ones for us. Pigs, I mean, pigs are not as important as these seeds from what I remember. Let's see, this right here, the pig essence is just used to make pork chops. So really, I want chickens, but still pigs are pretty nice because we may need pork chops down the road. So getting these 4 seeds is really what I need. So I'm gonna have to go kill some cows, which should take but a second. I'm not gonna kill my own cows. I'm gonna fly to do that. But I need to go kill a couple of chickens because these seeds are going to... Oh, we might actually have some of the stuff to make the seeds. Let's just see. Let's see what we do have first. So first of all, we need to take some tier 1 seeds, some zombie seeds, or just zombie chunks, and we need to cook those down into their base counterparts, leaving 4 of these guys for turning it into a zombie later on. So let's go ahead and cook those down, and we'll just see how many of these tier 2 seeds we actually, or tier 2 chunks, we're actually going to need. Alright, so on this tier 2, let's take a look over here. I'm going to try and make the chicken one. So it's going to require some eggs and feathers. We might have that. So we might actually have enough for this. Let's see, chicken seeds. Do I have... We do. So we have enough for the chicken seeds. Now, I am going to need the crafting seed. So, tier 2 crafting seed. I'm going to need 1 of those. Let's go ahead and get that started. And look how quickly that is done. That is already done. So, we have chicken seeds. Perfect. Now, pig seeds I know I don't have. I know I don't have enough of. Cow seeds, on the other hand, I don't think we have enough raw beef. That I definitely know. Now, sheep seeds, we should be able to make those out of the wool. So, actually, let's go ahead and upgrade these. And we can go ahead and make the sheep seeds. So, I mean, this is the process that I'm going to have to go through for making all of these. But, I mean, it's worth it because in the end, we're going to have essence that's building up that is going to provide us with everything we are going to need later on down the road. And, you know, not needing passive mobs is also a lag saver. We won't have to have giant farms for automating most of these things. All right, so I'm going to hunt some cows and some pigs, and we should be back. So last but not least, I just need to craft up the pig seed, and we have everything we need. So these are my passive mob farms that are pretty much ready to go. So all I need to do now is just hook them into our system and plant them. It's just as simple as that. So I'm going to go ahead and throw these in here, and these are just going to generate essence for us. It's just going to build up over time. So now that we know how mob chunks work, I think we've got a pretty good understanding of how all this stuff works. I hope you guys are enjoying the episodes. If you are, guys, well, you know what to do. Don't forget to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll see this video, guys, a huge thumbs up. I really appreciate it. You guys have been absolutely amazing. I'll see you guys in the next episode, and as always, thanks for watching.